The sea around the southern half of Japan is one of the largest habitats for Akoya oysters in the world. Here, independent Japanese pearl growers have refined and developed Mikimoto's techniques over the past 100 years. Some of the most beautiful pearls on earth are grown in this country, where attention to minute detail and aesthetics define every action. Today, there are some 2,000 independent pearl growers harvesting pearls in the quiet waters of Japan. Large and small cultivators alike employ the same basic techniques necessary to grow these lustrous gems to perfection. The process of pearl cultivation is painstaking and time-consuming, but the pearl growers and workers perform their life's work with patience and dedication. To diminish the risk of overexploitation and species extinction, a sizable amount of Japan's Akoya oysters are laboratory bred in tanks. This method breeds hardy and healthy oysters, which will produce pearls known for their superior luster and color. Oyster breeders employ the most modern scientific methods of breeding and always select the highest quality nutrients to ensure healthy oysters. At 6 months old, after egg fertilization and incubation, baby oysters are taken from the hatcheries and placed in special areas in bays around the southern part of Japan to grow to maturity. This is the beginning of a miraculous partnership between man and nature. When they're grown to maturity, which is about 3 years of age, the healthiest oysters are selected and brought from the sea and placed in holding tanks. They are ready to be implanted with a special irritant which will begin the pearl growing process. First, their metabolism is slowed down in an anesthetic bath, so that they do not suffer trauma or shock during the implantation operation. Once taken from its tank, the oyster is placed in an eye-level stand and opened slightly, so that its body and muscle tissue are not damaged. Next, a piece of mantle tissue, which carries genetic code, is taken from a prize oyster, one proven to produce the finest pearls. The mantle tissue is cut into strips, which, when inserted into the oyster, will start the pearl-producing process. With surgical precision, an incision is made in the oyster's body, and the mantle tissue, which contains cells that will begin to secrete nacre, is placed within the body in a location that will be relatively safe for the oyster. Then, a small round piece of shell, or nucleus, is inserted into the oyster next to the piece of mantle tissue. These nuclei come from the shell of a special kind of mollusk, usually a freshwater American mussel. The nucleus will serve as an irritant to the oyster, which will ultimately cover the nucleus with layers and layers of lustrous nacre. This painstaking operation requires a great deal of skill by the insertion technician, for one small mistake can result in the death of the oyster. Oysters which have undergone the successful insertion operation are weakened by the operation and must recuperate. They are quickly taken outside to rafts where they rest for about a week. Those that do survive are transferred to the main rafts in the bay. For the next 2 to 3 years, the oysters are carefully monitored and cared for by their ever-vigilant guardian keepers. Water temperature is constantly checked, salinity and alkalinity measured. In some cases, the oysters are removed from the sea every 10 days and cleaned of barnacles or parasites which might interfere with their feeding and health. As the seasons change in Japan from autumn to winter, the waters can become frigid and uninhabitable for the pearl oyster. If the water temperature drops drastically, the oysters must immediately be moved to warmer areas. Throughout the spring, the Akoya oysters wrap layers of pearly nacre around their irritants. Although summer brings milder weather and warmer water, it can also bring the dreaded red tide or typhoons. In a few months, these harsh conditions can destroy a year or more of hard work. So the pearl workers diligently guard their oysters against these potentially disastrous natural occurrences. After years of vigilance and care, pearl farmers retrieve the oysters they have raised. In some cases, their diligence and dedication end in vain. After visiting outlying pearl culturing areas, which are far removed from any of Japan's major cities, pearl processors return home to Kobe to begin the process of making cultured pearls ready for sale on the world market. This process will include pearl sorting by quality, size and shape, drilling, matching, and finally temporary stringing, all done to facilitate wholesale distribution to various domestic and international markets. Because cultured pearls are a product of nature, no two are ever alike. Each pearl has its own unique physical characteristics, its own luster, surface, shape, color, and size. It is the job of the sorter to separate the lots bought at auction into workable parcels. The pearls in each parcel must be separated by brilliance, size, shape, and color in order to use those pearls in various pieces of jewelry. The job of sorting is a difficult task, requiring keen-eyed experts with many years of experience who can sift through literally thousands of pearls each day, quickly and efficiently. Next, holes must be drilled into each pearl to prepare for stringing, an extremely delicate procedure reserved for only the highly trained. One slip of the hand can ruin a treasure. Then it's time for matching and stringing. This can be even more difficult than sorting because the processor is now comparing pearls similar in size, shape, luster, and color, looking for an almost exact match. All this is done in order to assemble cultured pearl necklaces, which will be prized for their uniformity of appearance. To find 47 pearls for a perfectly matched 16-inch necklace, workers must cull through more than 10,000 pearls. Once the pearls have been sorted, drilled, and strung, they must pass inspection. Before Japanese cultured pearls can be exported to the rest of the world, they undergo a rigorous quality inspection, which checks the brilliance of their luster, consistency of color, and their surface flaws. The Japanese Okoya pearl must adhere to very strict standards. Only those pearls that pass the quality test can be labeled pearls from Japan and sent out into the international marketplace. In today's market, it is important for the consumer to be educated about what determines a good quality pearl from an inferior one. Consumers can use similar standards employed by industry experts to distinguish between high quality and poor quality pearls. Just as pearl processors and sorters evaluate pearls on the basis of luster, surface, shape, color, and size, so can the consumer with a little help from a reputable jeweler. Luster is the most critical factor in evaluating the quality of a cultured pearl. It is the combination of bright surface shine and a deep three-dimensional glow that seems to emanate from within the heart of a cultured pearl. This soft glowing sheen is what makes it so uniquely different from all other gems. Generally, the brightest cultured pearls, those with exceptional luster, often have a thicker coating of nacre. This thicker coating of nacre also ensures the durability of a pearl, which can last for many generations. Cultured pearls with good luster are often capable of clearly reflecting images of objects close to them. Pearls with low luster are often dull and chalky in appearance, which generally indicates only a very thin layer of nacre is covering the nuclei. After assessing the luster of a cultured pearl, the second most crucial factor is its surface. Surface refers to the outer complexion of a pearl. Few pearls are perfectly smooth, just as few diamonds are flawless. Even high-quality cultured pearls will contain what experts call spotting or blemishes. Naturally, the fewer the blemishes, the more valuable the pearl. The most commonly found flaws are divided into two categories, damaging and non-damaging. Non-damaging flaws will not affect the lifespan or durability of a cultured pearl. They appear on the surface of a pearl as small bumps, pits, welts, and wrinkles. Damaging flaws such as chips, holes, cracks, and dull spots not only detract from the overall beauty of a pearl, but can also become larger over time and cause the nacre of a cultured pearl to peel or chip off. Virtually all pearls will have some spots or blemishes. They should be examined with careful attention to the severity of the flaw and capacity to affect lifespan. Usually, if non-damaging flaws are not obvious to the naked eye from a distance of 2 feet, they are not serious and will not detract from the overall beauty of the pearl. Often, pearls with high-quality luster can mask small surface imperfections. Guidance from a knowledgeable jeweler can be most helpful when inspecting the surface of a cultured pearl. The third most important factor when evaluating pearls is shape. Cultured pearls range from round to irregularly shaped gems termed baroque. In between those two extremes are off-round and drop-shaped pearls. It's rare to find perfectly round cultured pearls, so the rounder the pearl, the more valuable it will be. Shape selection depends a great deal upon individual tastes as well as budgets. Off-round and baroque cultured pearls are beautiful in their own right and can be far less costly than a perfectly round pearl. Color is another important aspect of pearl quality. Akoya cultured pearls come in a wide variety of colors: rosé, silver white, cream, gold, and blue-gray. Experts will often suggest that the best way to select color is to determine which hue goes best with the individual complexion of the wearer. Generally, pearls with a slight pink or silvery overtone complement women with fair skin and light hair, while creamy and dark-toned pearls flatter women with darker complexions. Of course, the classic cultured pearl color has traditionally been a lustrous silver white or slight rosé. But color selection, like shape, should always be a matter of personal taste. Finally, there is size to consider when evaluating and selecting pearls. Though size is not an indicator of quality, it will determine price. Cultured pearls range in size from 2 millimeters to 10 millimeters in Japanese Akoya pearls. It is very difficult for an oyster to grow a high-quality large pearl, so cultured pearls that are 7 millimeters and larger will always command premium prices. It's also important to evaluate a strand of pearls based upon the gem's match. To ensure that a strand of pearls is well matched, all the pearls in the strand should be very close to each other in terms of size, luster, shape, and color. A pearl